Join Woodward Sports' own Jeff Iafrate, along with special WSN guests for the most anticipated Lions season in decades. Filled with different surprises and expert analysis. You're not going to want to miss out. Go to our Woodward Sports YouTube channel on Sundays and tune in live from 9:30 to 11:30 a.m.
Good morning and welcome back to another episode of Woodward and Main Street, your Lions Insider show here on Woodward Sports Network. I'm Gabrielle Dee Phillips. Alongside me, Matt Broder and Terry Foster. Good morning, Foster.
You've already made your first mistake. You are not Gabrielle Dee Phillips.
No.
You're Grouchy Gabby today.
Yes. Yes, I am.
Old Seminole pride.
It's a great day to be a Lions fan and a terrible day to be a fan of college football or the Florida State University Seminoles, who have gotten completely screwed over by the College Football Playoff Committee. But thankfully, we have great senators in the state of Florida, and they're going to get to the bottom of this for us.
They're not going to change anything.
No, nothing will change, but I think everyone will see that the College Football Playoff Committee is a crock of you know what. So,
all right, can I say something so you'll hate me for the rest of your life?
Here he goes.
I'd much rather watch Michigan play Alabama than Michigan play Florida State.
And I'd much rather watch paint dry than watch that game at this point.
It's going to be a hell of a game. And it's not going to be a mollywop for the first time.
True. I'd just like to thank the University of Iowa for this weekend. You know, they gave us Sam Laporta, they gave us Jack Campbell, they gave Michigan a nice win in the Big Ten Championship. So thank you, Iowa. Thank you.
That game sucks.
Oh, it was horrible. This is the worst. This is the worst Big Ten Championship game ever. But hey, here we are. Go Blue.
I'd like to thank Brock Glenn for stepping in as QB3 and pulling out a win against number 14 Louisville. You know, his first start as a true freshman in college football, still pulled out a win, and it still wasn't enough. So many thoughts. Very, very frustrating. I'm glad this show happened before those results came out on Sunday because I was fuming. And if you saw my Twitter on Sunday, you would know that. I was very distracted during the Lions game, did not get to enjoy their win because I was trying to figure out how I was going to get myself on the College Football Playoff Committee reverse time and help the vote.
Yeah, but at least the Lions, they did us well. They gave us a win. You said, Terry, you were watching it with a couple friends.
Oh, yeah. No, they weren't even friends. I didn't know. They were strangers.
Yeah.
But I sat next to pessimistic Lion fans.
Oh, yeah.
Fan.
Andy.
And then I sat next to, I had to have a second team here because the Lions stunk so bad that he had to get a second team. And it was the Miami Dolphins.
So both of those guys were having a pretty good day.
Yeah, one was on my left, one was on my right. And the one guy, and this is, I don't know what's up with Lion fans. We talked about this a little bit in the last show. Mm-hmm. When New Orleans scored a touchdown to make it 21-7, he said, "Damn it, it's over."
Right.
So what are you talking about, dude? He said, Lions are going to lose this game. I said, well, you know, every team makes a run, and, you know, it might get uncomfortable, but they're not going to lose this game.
And they didn't.
He was cursing the whole game. Lions lost.
That's the perfect type of game for the pessimistic person you were watching. What'd you call him? Pessimistic Larry? Pessimistic Lions fan.
Pessimistic Pete.
Yeah, there we go.
Pessimistic Pete, Grumpy Gabby.
Yeah.
And Grumpy Gabby's going to get into the pessimistic that we gave last week or Sunday. So I'm going to kick it off. I said that I almost said the Knowles, the Saints. I'm all twisted. Our fourth in takeaways and second in interceptions. But those drills apparently paid off.
Yes.
Jared Goff kept a hold of the ball. Put a little bit more confidence in me as a viewer of his abilities to keep the ball.
Yeah.
Keep the ball in your hands.
Weird that sample size of the 30 games prior to this last stretch wasn't enough for some people to believe that he's not a turnover-prone quarterback anymore. But he showed us. He hang on to the ball. And Terry, that pocket mobility, Jared Goff, mobility.
I knew you were going to bring it up.
I've been thinking about it since they saw the first of many that he did in that Saints game. Jared Goff evading pressure and making some plays. You're right.
I'll give you that, but he's still slow as molasses.
Oh yeah. So he's very slow.
Run.
But there's a difference between being slow and being able to elude pressure.
You know, when he's in the pocket, at least he has the white boy wiggle.
He does.
That's why they don't bust him.
He does. And I'm going to talk more about it as we get through the episode. But he made some clutch plays there at the end that involved stepping up in the pocket, and that was huge. That was huge.
One thing I want to say is we give the people so much bullshit about these games, but the bottom line, don't turn the ball over, you win.
Yes.
Turn the ball over, you lose.
Saints turned the ball over. Mm-hmm. They lost.
Exactly. Next, Terry, your pessimistic was that the Lions had peaked and that the Packers and Bears games was who they truly were. Are you still feeling that way? Do you still hold on to that pessimism? I
do, a little bit. I'm wondering, because the Lions are not what they were earlier in the season.
Yeah.
And, I think maybe they have peaked a little bit. There's something that's different with this team. And so, when they're up 21-0, I think early in the season you'd be thinking, okay, they're gonna win by double digits at least. They'll win by 2 touchdowns. Man, this thing was a nail biter.
Yeah.
Even Dan Campbell got nervous.
But because it was so close, do you think that this was a strong enough game to prove that they're still in contention for a run in the playoffs?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, this showcased their resilience. It was one of those games they could have, when New Orleans was making their comeback, they could have folded. Mm-hmm. They never let New Orleans even gain a lead in that game. They were coming. They pushed it. They got that score a little bit closer than comfort, but they never let them cross that threshold where now New Orleans is in control and the Lions are coming from behind. But no, they managed to stay ahead. It was clutch plays, too, whether it was Riley Patterson kicking the field goals, Jack Fox helping them control the field position, Jack Fox, the punter for the Lions. They made the plays down the stretch when it mattered, and that's what counts. And although there were some ugly moments, this is what you want to see a team have to deal with before getting into the playoffs. This wasn't a clean football game, but they came out with a dub, and they're now 9-3. They haven't been playing perfect ball lately, but they are 9-3. That's got to feel crazy.
No, I tell you, one thing that Dan Campbell did that was very important was he didn't just try to run the clock out and try to get first downs, because I think at that point of the game, late in the game, New Orleans had their, even though they're not a great run defense, they were playing it pretty well. I'm not sure if the Lions would have made a first down if they tried to run it 3 times in a row. So the Lions may have done what the Bears did. Remember, the Bears, they got the ball. We're going to try to run out clock. They went 3 and out. Lions came back and scored. So that may have happened with the Lions now. But Dan Campbell, now I'm sitting next to, once again, pessimistic Pete.
Petey.
When he went back to pass, he said, "No, what are you doing?" And he called him an asshole and got all upset and everything. I said, dude, you can't run the ball all the time, because if you run the ball and you don't make it, then people are going to criticize you. Well, you're too conservative, blah, blah, blah. So there's no win in that situation unless you execute.
Yeah. And that's what there's sometimes the speculated or the highly criticized 3rd and 10 runs, 3rd and 8 runs. The one they had one in this game, David Montgomery early on, set that up later in the game where they can go to that play action pass and have just a split second more time if the linebackers are biting. It's something Ben Johnson, he was setting up at the beginning of the game and earlier in the season too. And you're right, when they needed to, they threw the ball. They had confidence that they were going to catch it.
And this conversation's right in line with your optimistic, Matt, because you were saying that it's strength on weakness. The Lions' run game and the run defense of the Saints not looking too great. Obviously, they brushed it up a little bit for this game. But this is the first time since 1936 that the Lions have had 2 players with 600 rushing yards and 5 touchdowns in the same season. I mean, that is just wild. 2-headed monster who I think you know who that is.
Yeah. I mean, have you ever seen something like this? A dynamic duo like Jahmyr Gibbs and David Montgomery? No, Barry Sanders didn't have a wingman.
For much of my younger life covering the Lions, it was Barry Sanders. And if another running back tried to run into the field, people say, "Get the hell out of here. You don't belong here. Get out. Scat."
Yeah.
So I think the answer to that question is never.
Oh, that's right. I didn't do my never thing. No. Or I could change that with nada.
Nada.
Oh, switching it up.
Yeah. No, but it's. I think that first drive down the field that the Lions had on offense, where most of the runs were David Montgomery. He was getting the 2, the 3, the 5-yard runs. Then Jahmyr Gibbs broke free for a 36-yard run up the middle where he's able to break it outside, and then at the goal line, hand it off to David Montgomery and about 10 offensive linemen in on that play where he's just able to walk it into the end zone. It was a pretty good drive, and it showed us what those two can be. It showed us again what those two can be together. It's pretty special.
No, my favorite running back was Jameson Williams.
Ooh. What a play.
That dude can jet. That's why.
Let him fly.
Let him fly. Whether it's a reverse, whether it's a long pass, just let him fly.
Yeah.
This dude has skills that nobody else in the league. Maybe Tyreek Hill.
I've been saying there can't be more than 2 or 3 people that can compare to what he can do. We're not comparing him to Tyreek Hill, but he's in that category of type of talent, type of athletic talent, type of weapon.
No, he's
With a
not
small sample
Tyreek Hill.
size.
No way.
No.
But you look at that skill set, and they can develop something.
Yes.
Once again, the Lions are very patient, very slow. I think if there was another coaching staff, that Jameson Williams would be a bigger part of the offense now.
Yeah.
They would just say, let him fly.
They got to start getting him more involved. Like you can see how dynamic he is just touching the ball. They got to find a way to get him 5 or 6 touches, 7 touches a game. You can see just anything can happen when he gets the ball. Find a way, whether it's behind the line of scrimmage or tossing him the ball. I like that it wasn't a traditional wide receiver route that they got him going at. I know you got to let him fly and take the top off the defense. Just get the ball in his hands somehow 5 or 6 times
Right,
a game.
because I think the league has figured out the Lions.
Yeah.
They know they got a good offensive line, so they're going to stack the line. They're going to make sure, or try to make sure they don't run the football. St. Brown is not – he's not going to go 30, 40 yards up the field, so you try to contain him to – if he catches the ball, maybe it's 5 or 6 yards. But the wild card is Jameson Williams. This dude is so fast. I don't think people realize speed kills. When I was a youth, if you had a big football team, that was dangerous. Now, if you can get 1 or 2 players who have exceptional speed, that's the killer right there.
Yeah. Yeah.
And that's why the Lions, from here on out, maybe next year, the year after, if they develop this kid, they're going to be really dangerous.
Yes.
Because there's going to be confidence. He's going to have his, sessions with Jared Goff or whoever the quarterback may be, and they're just going to say, hey, let him fly.
Let him fly.
And more time to develop throughout the season, because remember, we did lose him for those first games that were kind of crucial in that development. That I think the reason that Sam Laporta has kind of popped off in the way that he has was because he got that time that Jameson Williams didn't, and that one-on-one attention with Jared Goff to develop that, where Jameson Williams has missed out on that for now a season and a quarter.
Yeah.
So,
How about
interesting.
Sam Laporta?
But think about this. As good as Sam Laporta has been, Jameson Williams could be better.
Oh, by far.
No question. Can be, and then you get these two on the field with a little seasoning, and then St. Brown, and then offensive line. I mean, they could be dangerous.
Yeah.
Really dangerous.
And think about the final play, that the biggest play of the game is Josh Reynolds, who came in clutch again.
Right.
Jared Goff's former/current security blanket alongside Sam Laporta. It's a special team. They got a special offense. The question marks are on the other side of the ball.
We need to get into our game balls, so I'm interested to see if J-Mo makes the game ball list.
Foreshadowing. That's foreshadowing.
There it is. Thank you so much for
Yes,
calling that out,
I just
Matt,
want
just in
everyone to
case
know.
nobody got that. Stick with us, and we'll be right back to cover our game balls from the Lions win against the Saints.
Brace yourselves, Detroit. As the sun begins to set, 2 of Woodward Sports' brightest young stars will be taking the mic for a brand new show. Woodward Nights with Booner and Broder. The dog days in Detroit are over, and the boys are unleashed. Join in on the banter and hop on the bandwagon of the #1 night show on the internet. Tune into the Woodward Sports YouTube channel every weeknight from 8 to 10 p.m. Woodward Nights with Booner and Broder.
Stop searching for a vehicle and start finding one. Les Stanford Chevrolet Cadillac makes it easy. We harness the power of multiple dealerships and own the biggest selection of GM brands in the area to get you the car you need. With the Les Stanford Group, you'll have access to 4 different dealerships, providing you with more makes, more models, and more choices. We're connected to more than 1,000 vehicles. And with so many high-quality CPO vehicles available, you'll find new car quality at pre-owned prices. You can start and end your search at lesstanford.com today.
Woodward Sports' own Tom Mazaway and Sam Stick Day will be hosting our Lions postgame show after every Lions game all season long. Tune into the Woodward Sports YouTube channel for his hot-off-the-press takes, game analysis, and Kool-Aid sipping celebrations. You won't want to miss it. Join Maz, Stick, and special guests each week immediately following every Lions game, exclusively on the WSN YouTube channel.
Welcome back to another episode of Woodward and Main Street. I'm Gabrielle Dee Phillips. Alongside me, Matt Broder and
Hello.
Terry Foster. Apologies, I'm grumpy Gabby this morning.
Grumps.
But we're very happy about that Lions win. And we're going to get into our game balls from the Lions win over the Saints. A win that Dan Campbell said is a hell of a win. First of all, do you agree with that? Was it a hell of a win?
Anytime you went on the road, it's a hell of a win. I'm sure he's disappointed in the way it came down to. I mean, they had a shot to beat the Lions. I'm sure he was upset about that. But I think Dan Campbell and everybody else understands in the NFL, if you went on the road, that's a win.
Yeah.
So you take it and get the hell out of town before they change their mind.
Oh, yeah. How about those Lions fans showing up again? Like, I saw some more pictures. Something's taken over the NFL. It's as if these Lions fans, they're taking all these away games as a challenge almost and going and taking over these arenas. In a place like the Superdome, it makes a difference.
All right, bro. It's easy to go to New Orleans and party and have a good time.
Yeah,
So that's cute. Now, what I want them to do when they play the Bears in Chicago,
That's tougher.
That's when you need to show up because it's going to be
In
cold.
the cold.
I hate that stadium, but that's the game they have to show out for selfish reasons. Because back in the day, the Bears fans used to come to the Silverdome, used to come to Ford Field, act like fools, disrespect the home team, which I did too, but disrespect the home team fans and everything. But now it's payback. It needs to be payback. The Lion fans need to take over Soldier Field because it's payback for the Bears fans who used to come here because Southwest Airlines used to have $19 round trip flights and they used to come in and they act like assholes. So now I am not advocating Lion fans to be unruly, but you go there, show their presence, and give the middle finger to the Bears fans.
Yeah.
'Cause I can't stand them.
They're going to have some pretty high draft picks. This is the time. We don't know how long it will be till the Bears are good again. They might be coming.
We'll see. Now let's get into those game balls. We're going to kick it off.
Pause.
Matt, you chose Jared Goff.
Yes.
Jared Goff for your game ball. Give us your thoughts here.
Well, let's be clear. Mr. Sam Laporta deserves the game ball. We're going to let Terry tackle Sam Laporta. But Jared Goff, to me, he bounced back. This was a game after the last two people have been criticizing Jared Goff, talking about his turnovers, but he bounced back in a big way and was really able to not just lead that offense out of the gate, getting off to that 21-point lead, but then down the stretch, making those crucial plays, especially in the fourth quarter. Those ones we talked about. I was joking about it in the first segment about his pocket mobility, but he made some really great passes with pressure coming. This is after Frank Ragnow went off. That defensive line for the Saints was getting extra pressure. They were getting through that line. And Jared Goff was able to step forward on the David Montgomery drop. It was, I think, late in the fourth quarter. A 3rd and 10, David Montgomery dropped the ball. That was a perfect pass that Jared Goff made, wiggling out of the pocket. One to Sam Laporta. He threw a pinpoint accurate on the move. And then to Josh Reynolds. He took a shot. He stepped up in the pocket, and that defender was coming. He took a shot, but delivered it perfectly to Josh Reynolds. I just got to give it to Jared Goff for answering the bell.
You know what Jared did, and you're too nice to say it? He showed balls.
Yeah.
Particularly in the last part of that fourth quarter where you would be criticized if he missed those passes. Then it's like, well, the Lions gave New Orleans the ball back too quickly and blah, blah, blah. But he was back there, and it was tight passes. It wasn't like easy ones.
Yeah.
And one of the passes was a little bit low, but he still got it to Josh Reynolds. So
Ball placement. That was away from the defender.
right,
And you think
but it was
you
still low.
It was low, but that's where you needed to put that one because there was another defender over the top. Yeah, there could have been a little more, maybe at his waist.
Not at his ankles.
Yeah, maybe.
We kind of already touched on him in the last segment, but I'm jumping into it because my game ball is going to Jamison Williams.
Love it.
And yes, I did see a comment here in the chat that said, Dan Wood, Gabby picking only one player this week. And yes, one player, Jamison Williams, because I believe aside from Sam Laporta, who was consistent that whole game, Jamison Williams had an opportunity in this game. He gets very few opportunities. We have talked about this. And Jamison Williams got an opportunity in this game, and boy, did he take it and run it into the end zone.
You know what Jamison Williams is doing quietly? He's, he gets, like you said, few opportunities, but he's like scoring the game-winning points.
Yes.
We don't know it at the time, but when you go back and look at it, it says, oh, that's what won the game for him.
The Buccaneers game, there was that
Yep.
pass in the end zone. That was huge.
Yeah.
And then you start seeing a little. He's gaining confidence. You're starting seeing a little sass out of Jamison Williams.
For sure.
He wants the ball. He's letting a couple words slip there, but he wants the ball. It's just got to get the ball, and when he touches it, good things happen.
So obviously, this is now a couple games in a row, where he has had a breakout play, a breakout touchdown, a pivotal point for the Lions to turn it around and bring that energy up. But they're still not getting the ball in his hands that many times. What will it take for this Lions coaching staff to believe in him and to put the ball in his hands more and let him fly?
You know what? Jamison Williams needs to do something that will get him skewered in this town. He needs to go to the media and bitch about not getting the ball enough. Be a diva, wide receiver.
No,
I don't think I agree.
I want nothing to do with that.
Hey, if he gets the ball more, you'll be all for it.
I don't think it's going to work in his favor if he does that.
Well, I think they're finding a way to get him the ball more. I think this offense. It's a well-oiled machine, and it's a machine that Ben Johnson. He's so thoughtful about every little thing he does. They're finding ways. I wish it was more already. I do. I have total belief that they're going to start giving him the ball more. They need to. If not during the regular season, which I hope also, they're setting things up for the playoffs. They're just not showing you everything.
Jamison, hey, buddy, if you're listening here's what you do. No one can stop me. I'm the fastest guy on the league. Get me the frickin' ball.
That's facts.
Bam.
Mic drop.
And like I said, he's going to get ripped by the fans, but hey.
I don't know if he will, because everywhere after that touchdown, there was two things that I saw. One, what was that leap? And two, give him the ball more. Which we have to talk about that dive.
He's being praised for keeping his mouth shut.
Yeah.
I'm saying, hey, dude, be a diva.
You know what? Maybe
Not yet.
if the season hadn't started the way it did, I would agree with you a little bit more. But I think because of his controversial start to the season, I think it would be in his best interest not to push the limits right now.
It probably is the smartest thing, but you know what? I don't use smart logic all the time. I want to see some action sometimes.
Right.
But not so much action that he's leaping into the end zone and potentially putting himself in harm's way.
But did he get injured?
No, he didn't.
Okay.
But we can't look at him and say, yeah, continue those celebrations when we give Aiden Hutchinson flack for his Billie Jean dance.
Yeah.
Well, he could have had an ACL tear or something.
Yeah, Jamie needs to be careful. He goes so fast that even just him jumping into the end zone like that. Talk about the impact on hitting the ground. If he's going, I think it was 21 miles per hour he got up to. Just don't break your wrist.
He looks like a rag doll. Like he threw himself.
Yeah.
That looked like somebody hit him and he went flying. No, he did that all
All
on
right,
his
you know
own.
what he was trying to do? And here's a rule I don't know. What if Jamison Williams leaps outside the end zone and he leaps all the way across the end zone to out of bounds? Is that a touchdown?
That's actually a great question. I bet he could do it. I wonder. I don't know if
could
he's a
do it.
long
He
jump.
could for sure do it, but
He was an Olympic runner, or Olympics type runner. I wonder what type of long jump he might be able to. Was it 10 yards? Yeah,
10 yards.
maybe. Huh, J-Mo.
It is a touchdown, but
Oh, it is.
you know the because once you cross the plane, and you're leaping through the air, you're up in the clouds. That's a touchdown.
Gotcha.
But the NFL might say, hey,
2 toes.
let's go back to the old days where we would screw the Lions, and we're going to come up with this new rule that you got to physically be on the ground in the end zone so they'll take the touchdown away from them.
You can't fly into the end zone.
Yeah, flying is not allowed.
Okay.
No fly zone.
No fly zone.
You know what, I do have to agree with you, Matt, because now that I'm thinking about it, I'm jumping back a little bit, but I had a chance to let it simmer because you said that you might see them holding off on these plays until the playoffs.
Yeah.
And one of the reasons that I'm going to agree with that is because Dan Campbell this week had said that this play has been in the Ben Johnson laboratory cooking for a while. So it makes me think, okay, what else do they have up their sleeve? And are they holding out on these things to give little flashes of, okay, this is a taste. We are more than capable of doing this, but we don't need to let all of our tricks out of the bag quite yet. So, you know what? Maybe you are right. Maybe they're holding off, but I don't think that you should hold off for so long.
Hey, I'm okay with that.
I actually don't think they're doing that. I think what they're doing is, when you cook a pot roast, you don't take the pot roast out when it's rare.
Sure.
You put it in when all the juices are simmering. So I think once they feel the pot roast is fully cooked, they'll let it go. Whether it's against Minnesota or Denver or whatever, they're gonna take their time, and when they feel it's okay, they'll go for it.
Yeah.
Because they still gotta win games.
Yeah.
They can't just chill out and be 9-7 at this point.
But they're still going to win games because they have Mr. Sam Laporta on their side, which is your game ball for the game, Terry. Tell us about it.
Sam Laporta was Michael Jordan. It was like, you need 20 yards, here I am. You need 8 yards, here I am. Mm-hmm. I'm not going to say he was always open, but his hands were like magic. Get me the ball, I'm going to catch it, and I'm going to get a big play for the Lions. So, like I said, he was Michael Jordan. Anytime they needed something, and they got in trouble a few times, it was like, okay, going to Sammy. Yeah, Sammy would slam it.
Every time, 9 targets, 9 catches.
Bam.
He came through.
Don't get any better than that.
Yeah, that's a rookie. That's a rookie tight end. Mm-hmm. He's putting his name up there in the record books. Obviously, an historic rookie season for a tight end. But even just this year, he's playing as good as any tight end in the NFL. And that's what's helping this Lions go on this run. And this Saints game, they made a really concerted effort, maybe more than any team, to take Amon-Ra St. Brown out of that game. And Sam Laporta was, I'll say, benefactor. He was the one who made the most of the little extra help. If there was a linebacker guarding him, Sam Laporta was too fast, and the linebacker couldn't cover him. If it was a safety or a cornerback, he was too physical. He was too strong, and they weren't able to cover him. It's great to see someone like that. He's a rookie who knows the plays and is a great blocker, but his ability to do the talented wide receiver things, the separation at the top of his route, it's special. It's special to see, and he's just, when the ball's in his area, you expect him to catch it. It's really fun to watch.
You have to go back at the beginning of the season when he was drafted, and all the talk being, okay, he is a steal, for sure, but the tight end position is one of the hardest to learn as a rookie in the NFL.
Yeah.
It's not making it look very hard.
Talk about this is one of those things where the situation you get drafted into is so important. I'm not just going to use that as an excuse. The reason why Sam Laporta is good, but when you think about coming to this team with this offense, led by Ben Johnson and Jared Goff, the quarterback. Yeah. But then it's Dan Campbell's. He was a former tight end. Steve Hyden, the tight end coach. Ben Johnson was a former tight ends coordinator, passing game coordinator. All the things set up, or if he needed any extra help, he's got all the knowledge around him to have a successful career. It just seems like he's soaking that up, and he's taking it all in and playing very, very well.
Or I know we make fun of the University of Iowa.
Uh-oh.
Maybe they got some magic with the tight end going on over there. Look at all the great tight ends they've had.
Tight end U.
It is.
Very well.
Michigan, Detroit, the Lions. They're training to tight end incorporated, the professional version.
Bam.
Yeah.
We are going to get into the doubt of the Lions in the next segment. Stick with us and see what that means.
Now, coming to Woodward Sports, Woodward and Main Street, the Woodward Sports Network Detroit Lions show. Let's go! Catch Gabrielle Dee Phillips, Matt Broder, and Terry Foster for all the latest news on your Detroit Lions every week. only on the Woodward Sports Network YouTube channel and woodwardsports.com.
Stop searching for a vehicle and start finding one. Les Stanford Chevrolet Cadillac makes it easy. We harness the power of multiple dealerships and own the biggest selection of GM brands in the area to get you the car you need. With the Les Stanford Group, you'll have access to 4 different dealerships, providing you with more makes, more models, and more choices. We're connected to more than 1,000 vehicles. And with so many high-quality CPO vehicles available, you'll find new car quality at pre-owned prices. You can start and end your search at lesstanford.com today.
Join Woodward Sports' own Jeff Iafrate, along with special WSN guests, for the most anticipated Lions season in decades. Filled with different surprises and expert analysis. You're not going to want to miss out. Go to our Woodward Sports YouTube channel on Sundays and tune in live from 9:30 to 11:30 a.m.
Welcome back. This is Woodward and Main Street, your Lions Insider Show here on Woodward Sports Network. I'm Gabrielle Dee Phillips, alongside me Matt Broder and Terry Foster, and we are here today because of the one and only Les Stanford. Thanks so much, Les Stanford, for sponsoring this show.
Boom.
This series, we're very grateful for it. We talked a little bit in the last segment about the Lions fans traveling, and the Lions fans, obviously we're talking about doubt in this segment, don't seem to have any doubt about these Lions and whether it's worth it or not to travel. So thank you for the Petoskey's, great family friends of ours who went down to the game and kept me covered the entire game, pre-game weekend, with all the coverage of what it looked like down in New Orleans. And we have a couple of those videos to share with you. If you could hit it, JB. I mean, it looks like Ford Field.
It's all Lions fans.
All Lions fans. And that's that one section. It's crazy. They completely took over New Orleans. Look at those sad Saints fans leaving. They're like, are you kidding me?
It's got to feel so good as a player.
To run through and it be all Lions fans at the end of that. And I mean, you see it, I've seen it on Danny Rogers' Instagram plenty of times at the end of the games, how good it must feel to be there and know that you're doing something good and people are believing in you, to go to New Orleans and get that win and beat Dan Campbell and going back and beat Aaron Glenn and going back. You pulled out a win and the fans were there to ride with you all the way through it.
Right. And like I said, in the NFL, NBA, and when you went on the road, whether it's 1 point, 50 points, or whatever, that's special. It's hard to do. And I think the disappointment, though, there's a disappointment in this game. When you're up 21-0, it shouldn't become a one-possession game.
Yeah.
Where the opponent has the ball with the opportunity to take the lead. It shouldn't come down to that. So I don't know if it was let up or the Lions can't play a complete 60-minute game. So that should be a little bit of concern. But, on the other hand, they won and they're 9-3.
Sounds like Terry's already jumping to the doubt of this segment. So I do want to get into it because I did want to ask you guys, what's going on in this third quarter? Once again, a terrible third quarter, coming out of the locker room at halftime and looking like they're completely gassed. They look like a completely different team in the first quarter than the third quarter. Why is that?
Yeah.
I think I'm going to use the word desperation for the other team. I think the opponents have said, okay, we got to do something now. And the Lions, I'm not saying that they're getting fat and sassy, but it's like the urgency isn't there. You notice they had a good quarter against
The Packers.
When they were behind.
Yeah.
Because they were the desperate team.
Very good point. It's true. It's true. And it's something, whether it's Ben Johnson making an adjustment if the team starts on offense or Aaron Glenn if the Lions start on defense, there's got to be some type of urgency or aggression or even a new scheme to come out of the locker room. It appears that the opposing offensive coordinator, the opposing coach, seems to outduel the defensive coordinator and the offensive coordinator of the Lions in the third quarter. So yeah, it's something they work on, they focus on. I don't know what else you do, but it's something they got to figure out how you come out of that locker room with more energy than the other team while you're ahead. You're right, Terry. It's while you're ahead, they can't take their foot off the pedal.
Right, because a lot of times in the NFL, If you're behind, you make adjustments. If you're ahead, it's like, I don't have to make adjustments. I'm winning.
Yeah.
Well, is that the problem then, that they're not making enough adjustments, that then they're not kind of countering quick enough when the other team adjusts to what the Lions are doing? Because Dan Campbell did touch on this. He said,
I think that's the
they
case.
adjusted to us, but clearly the Lions didn't adjust well in return to counter that.
Yeah.
It's easier to get your message across when you're losing. And then you tell somebody, you yell at somebody, and when you're up 2 touchdowns, they're like, what's he talking about? We're up 2 touchdowns. I have to listen to this fool.
Yeah.
We good. And so I think, maybe you do reach a little complacency, and the other team is more desperate.
Yeah.
Desperation goes a long way.
It does. And I think they need to, I just had a thought in my head. Oh, they've proven to me half of the adjustment, half of the preparation that goes into being a consistently winning football team. I think they need to improve their in-game adjustments. Sometimes these coaches are out coaching them in the middle of the game in terms of making adjustments, maybe due to desperation or whatever the case may be. But they are proving to me that out of breaks, out of the bye week, out of this long Thanksgiving break, they're the team that comes out right out of the gate hot. They went up a lot on I think it was 24-0 on the Chargers after the bye week, and then in this game, 21 points in the first 7 minutes. So Ben Johnson and that offense, at least, and even the defense, we'll give credit to the defense. They're coming out of the gate in those games ready to go, and they've prepared and adjusted to the team they're playing, but now it's in the game. Once those teams catch up to the Lions, what are they doing to make those adjustments? They're catching up a little bit to Ben Johnson. I'm not worried about him. I think he's figuring out how to fire back now that he's becoming not more predictable, but people are starting to see some patterns in his offense. He's doing more innovation. Now we got to see that more out of the defense too.
Every week, the Lions have left behind some doubt. Is this on the Lions? Or is this on the NFL?
It's a combo, but this is the NFL.
Yeah.
I would say number one. That's why this season, 65 to 70% of games, one-score games. No matter who's playing, it's going to come down to the last 5 minutes.
Yeah.
That's the National Football League. But you like to think your team is not going to fall into that trap. But the Lions, like everybody else, they play hard. Game's going to get tight. So what you got to do is, I like it when teams impose their will on somebody in the fourth quarter.
Yes.
Because that's when you win the game.
And that's what the Lions have done this year. And we've seen, we like to see the victory formation, them kneeling at the end of the game. But what that tells you, too, if they're doing that, that means they're controlling the ball with the lead in the fourth quarter at the end of the game. In the last 6 minutes against the Saints, they ended up punting to the Saints. They got the ball with just under 6 minutes to go. They stopped them on about a 3-minute drive that ended in a stop on fourth down, a turnover on downs. Then they got the ball back just under 3 minutes to go, and the Saints were never able to get the ball back. They moved it down the field with the run game and, like we talked about earlier, the pass game, finding Josh Reynolds, finding Sam Laporta to not only move the chains, but to keep the clock running. They're figuring out how to close out games, and you got to love to see that heading into December, heading into the playoffs. That's one of those traits you got to look for in championship-winning teams, being able to close the game out. They're built to do it. They've shown they can do it. Now they just got to keep doing it against some of these better teams that they're going to face.
I think one of the things we forget, people always say a drive is successful when you score. That's not the case all the time. Let's say you get the ball with 5 minutes left, and then you keep the ball. You give them the ball with 30 seconds left or 20 seconds left with 80 yards to go. That's a successful drive. That means you're running clock. You're not going 3 and out. You're not giving them 4.5 minutes to try to score. You give them 30 seconds.
Yes.
That is a successful drive, and that's the position the Lions hadn't been in very often. But they've been in it the last 2 years, running clock, boom, and let's go home. That's all you want to do.
I have to close out this question, or this segment, with another question. A question that I've asked almost every single show to Matt Broder. Have the Lions played a complete game yet?
No. Nope. They had spurts. They
Then
had
I
moments.
follow up. Are you concerned that the Lions still have not had a one-sided game, a blowout win like you've been predicting yet this season? Does this concern you for later in the playoffs?
No, it doesn't.
Okay.
Yes, I want to see them blow teams out. I want to see them, almost have a week off by just getting a 21-point lead, turning that into 42, and just calling it a day. But they're running into some adversity, sometimes self-caused, but they're dealing with it. They're figuring out how to get through some of these obstacles, some of these challenges, and that's what team building is needed going into the playoffs. I think it only sets them up for more success. They've been through it. They're not going to see some of these moments for the first time, some of these situations. They're going through it, and they're playing. Some of the end of these games are what playoff football is going to be like. It's one-score games, like Terry just said, and they're learning how to close it out. I'll take that any day of the week. But no, they haven't played a complete football game. They need to soon, hopefully in the playoffs.
We're going to look ahead a little bit, not yet into the playoffs, but what is to come on the schedule. Maybe we'll get into, a game that happened this week that people were surprised about the outcome, maybe a little Brock Purdy action. Stick with us and see what that's all about in the next segment.
Woodward Sports' own Tom Mazaway and Sam Stick Day will be hosting our Lions postgame show after every Lions game all season long. Tune into the Woodward Sports YouTube channel for his hot-off-the-press takes, game analysis, and Kool-Aid sipping celebrations. You won't want to miss it. Join Maz, Stick, and special guests each week immediately following every Lions game, exclusively on the WSN YouTube channel.
Stop searching for a vehicle and start finding one. Les Stanford Chevrolet Cadillac makes it easy. We harness the power of multiple dealerships and own the biggest selection of GM brands in the area to get you the car you need. With the Les Stanford Group, you'll have access to 4 different dealerships, providing you with more makes, more models, and more choices. We're connected to more than 1,000 vehicles. And with so many high-quality CPO vehicles available, you'll find new car quality at pre-owned prices. You can start and end your search at lesstanford.com today.
Brace yourselves, Detroit. As the sun begins to set, 2 of Woodward Sports' brightest young stars will be taking the mic for a brand new show. Woodward Nights with Booner and Broder. The dog days in Detroit are over, and the boys are unleashed. Join in on the banter and hop on the bandwagon of the #1 night show on the internet. Tune into the Woodward Sports YouTube channel every weeknight from 8 to 10 p.m. Woodward Nights with Booner and Broder.
Welcome back to Woodward and Main Street, your Lions Insider Show here on Woodward Sports Network, brought to you by Les Stanford. Thanks so much, Les Stanford, for making this possible. I'm Gabrielle Dee Phillips, Matt Broder, and Terry Foster, as always, Lions Insiders, here at the corner of Woodward and Main Street.
Buns and guns.
This is what it's all about. I knew that was coming.
You never should have said anything.
I know, I shouldn't have. Which is why we're going to move right along, because Terry has I have a very important discussion that I need you to get into here.
Okay.
Who are the Lions chasing, and why do you say it's the 49ers and not the Eagles?
Okay. The Lions are not chasing the Eagles because the way I look at it is, it doesn't matter if you have the #1, #2, or #3 seed. If you can't beat the #1, #2, #3, or even the #4 seed, what's that matter? To me, the Lions and the Niners are tied technically in the NFC. And Philadelphia is a game up. But what I saw this weekend with the San Francisco 49ers, and after they got through their little 3-game slump, this is the team that you need to measure yourself against. Can you beat the San Francisco 49ers? I'm going to say right now, hell no. They have too many weapons. McCaffrey, and I know Brock Purdy might win MVP. The MVP on that team is Christian McCaffrey.
Yeah.
And then you got Deebo Samuel. You got Trent Williams. I mean, that's a stud team. And the Lions pride themselves on being tough. Niners not only are talented, but just as tough. And they have a better defense. They have a better pedigree. The Lions are in a 3-year build.
Yeah.
Niners have been chasing greatness for decades now. So they're ahead of where the Lions are. But when I saw that Philadelphia game, I'm like, oh, shoot, this is dangerous.
They look good. They look good. And they're built like the Lions, or at least the Lions are built like the 49ers, or at least they show signs of being built in a similar way, and that's in the trenches. That's started the 49ers, Trent Williams, he really makes that offense go. He's the engine of that offense. But like you said, Brock Purdy, their quarterback, has weapons all over the place, whether it's Debo, George Kittle, Brandon Ayuk, their sure-handed number 2, who's really a number 3. That's a lot of what the Lions look for, or what they're looking for in their offense. I do love the Lions offense, but you can't even compare the two defenses. That front seven that they have, the 49ers have on defense, is scary. When you think of Chase Young being their third, fourth, or fifth option on there, Javon Hargrave, the former Eagle, how well he's been playing. Oh, man, that defensive line is what separates them. That's where the Lions need to, and I know they're addressing it in the draft, or they should be coming up. That's where there's a big difference in talent.
Yeah, like I think the Lions can hang with them for a long time, but there's certain teams that they impose their will on you when it really matters.
Yeah.
And I think that's what San Francisco will do if they play the Lions in the playoffs. So I don't know if you can catch them this year. That's why I don't think the Lions could go to the Super Bowl. They can't win the NFC. They can be a threat, but San Francisco is going to impose their will on the Lions if they ever play in the playoffs. And so Lion fans are going to be all excited. Hey, 3 quarters, we're only down by 4. Oh, wow, look at this. And then San Francisco is going to have like a 14-minute drive or something.
Yeah.
The Lions have a 3 and out, be done like that.
So
that's why they're chasing the Niners, young lady.
I love it. I think that's a great explanation, and I think I would agree with you after that thorough investigation as to your answer.
Oh, yeah.
Bam.
I want to do a temperature check in the room because the Packers beat the Kansas City Chiefs.
They're heating up.
Do you feel any better about the Lions' loss to the Packers after they beat the Kansas City Chiefs?
No. And I'll tell you why. It was a night game, and teams are always pumped up about that. Let me see. It was cold. It was set up for the Green Bay Packers, and they were at home. And so I don't, I don't think this is this great win by Green Bay. And you know what? Kansas City's not that good. Kansas City's still tough. But Kansas City Chiefs are not the Kansas City Chiefs. They got some flaws this year.
Like the Alabama of
NFL. Yeah, the Alabama of the AFC.
Yeah.
And you know what? Is the AFC Championship going to go through Kansas City? Probably not. It's probably going to go through Miami or Baltimore, probably more likely. So I don't think the circumstances made it, oh, well, the Lions, it's okay to lose to Green Bay. No, because you're at home. Green Bay dominated you, even though it ended up being 29-22. And it came on the heels of another game where the Bears were better than you, but you came back and won. So I don't feel better about that loss to Green Bay.
Yeah, no, me neither. I chalked the loss to Green Bay up more on some mistakes that the Lions made versus it was all Green Bay. Green Bay did play great, don't get me wrong. And Rashawn Gary and that defense, they definitely were the better team on that day. My disappointment in that game lied more in the mistakes that the Lions made. And I still hold that opening night win against the Chiefs in such high regard, regardless of their record, and that they were having a somewhat down year, still near the top of the AFC. Even though they lost to the Packers at Lambeau in a primetime game, I just think that win early in the season still is a big one. It's the opening night against the defending champions in front of the world. That set the tone for the year, the season, and I don't think that should be looked less at either, if that makes sense.
I agree.
Yeah.
Next up on the schedule, the Bears.
The Bears.
On the road. The Lions are going to take on the Bears. They have one win over them. Are they capable of another, or will this be another situation like Green Bay?
They better win, right, Terry?
Yeah, I'm not sure if they're going to win. I think the Bears learned a very valuable lesson. The Bears let their foot off the gas, and that's when the Lions just came down and won this game. When you look at this, what the Bears and the Lions, Bears should have won. They were the better
without
team.
a doubt.
They had him down, and then and I hate this so much. Go to the prevent defense. You know what the prevent defense is? Prevents you from winning. That's what it does.
Yeah.
In the National Football League, you have to be aggressive, mean, angry. But when you start becoming passive, that's when the other teams kind of take over.
Yes.
Yeah. That's what happened with the Lions and the Bears game. Now, the Bears are going to be at home. They're not going to let the foot off the gas. They learned a valuable lesson. I think they learned more of a lesson than the Lions did in that game.
Yeah. This game away at Soldier Field in December. This is that maybe trap game isn't the right word, but this is a game where the Lions are vulnerable. Playing outside, things can happen. The Chicago Bears have some talent. Justin Fields is a good quarterback, or at least they have an offense that are capable of putting some points up. So, hey, this is they got to focus in for this game. Can't let it get past them.
Well, there is a taste of what is to come on Sunday. We will be back here at 8 a.m. to preview the Lions at the Bears. That's all we have for you this morning. I'm Gabrielle Dee Phillips, Matt Broder, Terry Foster, and I hope everyone but the College Football Playoff Committee has a wonderful day.
Oh man.
Stop searching for a vehicle and start finding one. Les Stanford Chevrolet Cadillac makes it easy. We harness the power of multiple dealerships and own the biggest selection of GM brands in the area to get you the car you need. With the Les Stanford Group, you'll have access to 4 different dealerships, providing you with more makes, more models, and more choices. We're connected to more than 1,000 vehicles, and with so many high-quality CPO vehicles available, you'll find new car quality at pre-owned prices. You can start and end your search at lesstanford.com today.